Hi everybody, in this video I am going to show you the step-by-step instructions to recharge your AC system in your car with refrigerant. So to start off, you want to leave your car off, you want to let the engine cool for about 5 minutes, open the hood and find the low pressure port where the cap will be marked with an L. You can connect your AC refrigerant, don't fill anything yet and ignore the gauge reading on the refrigerant. Now you want to come to the car, start your engine, open all the doors, you want to turn the AC on and fan to max as well. And you want to check the gauge reading. You want to make sure that you're only filling it if it is in the low PSI reading area. If your refrigerant gauge is showing in the green, yellow, or red area where it is sufficiently filled or overfilled, do not add more refrigerant. It's going to cause issues. But if you're in the low area, you can continue to fill slowly until it reaches the green zone, after which you can continue to return back inside your car and feel the air coming out of the vents. If the air is colder than what you were expecting before, there you go. Your refrigerant has been filled. It is working. Now you can turn your car off. You can disconnect the refrigerant can, add the cap back, close the hood. And at this point, you probably want to contact a mechanic to figure out why the refrigerant was leaking in the first place. Now that we've seen this overview, why don't we get into the detailed steps and watch this all happen in real time. Okay, so the AC in the Land Cruiser is not operating as cool as it used to. I noticed that it's not cooling things down. In fact, it feels like it's not turning on, but I hear the compressor going on and off. I'm not sure entirely. So one of the ways, here are the toolings that you need, how to recharge your AC system. You should have a pair of gloves, safety gloves, safety goggles. I've got my glasses that will do the trick here. And you will need an AC refrigerant to put into your vehicle. For me, I've got this Arctic Freeze right here. My vehicle needs R134A. You can look up which one your vehicle needs on Google, ChatGPT. It's also available under the hood. I'm going to be going through exactly the steps you need to take in order to recharge your system. If you have a temperature gauge, that's nice to have. You can put that into the vent to see the temperature difference from before recharge and after. You don't need any other tooling because right here on these gauges is the level you need to go at. And so there's also a bit of a guide down here that explains that if you are, when you connect the gauge and it is in the gray area of the gauge right here in the low area, then that means that you need to recharge the system. If it is in the green area of the gauge right here, then that means that the system does not need to be charged anymore. If it goes into the yellow or red, you have a problem and the AC is still not working in the green, yellow, or red, which would, anything above green would be overcharging the system, which is not something you want to do. But if it is in green, yellow, or red and the AC is not working, then it's not a refrigerant related problem. So we're going to find that out. We're going to find out where to connect the refrigerant and all of that in this video. So let's get started. Okay, so to get going, what you need is turn the car off and first, you don't need to let the engine cool down, maybe like 5-10 minutes, but it is easier to like find the spots for different things so that you can hook this thing up. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you opening my hood up here to show you what we're looking at. Okay, let's open this guy up. Great. So this is an LS3 6.0 liter V8. So what we're looking for, and this may be on the most likely on the left side of your vehicle, is you're gonna have these lines going out. You're gonna have these lines coming from the front of your car heading towards the back. What you're looking for specifically here, so this one, as you can see, says H on it. So this is the high pressure point of that AC unit's hoses, right? So that's not the one that you want to go to. We're going to come back here, and this one, if you can see, it says L for low pressure. This is the one we want to go to. And what's interesting is that there's a safety element built into the system where this will not fit in to the high pressure one because the high pressure point coupling is too big, if you'll notice, for that fitting. So this one, that's another safety mechanism that's in place. So we're going to be putting it into this low pressure one. Now, before we hook it up, I'm going to show you a few things. A couple of things to know. So I am going to show you each step for example, the Arctic Freeze one. Many of the other ones follow the same procedure. It has this band to kind of hold things together. We'll cut that off first. Before I take off the next part, which is this safety item in here, I'm going to show you what you need to do when you have it coupled. So on the coupling side, there is this mechanism, sort of like with PVC pipes, if you've ever attached a plumbing pipe or any kind of water pipe. You pull this up, so you're going to pull this up like this, attach it, and then you're gonna let it go. So pull up, attach, let it go. And then once it's installed, you're gonna try to wiggle it to make sure it's not coming off. That means it has a good coupling and a good grip. So that's one thing. Now, during the process that you're filling, first after attachment, we're gonna check to make sure that it is in the low area and actually, in fact, does need to have a recharge. So we're gonna check for that first. And if it does, in fact, need a recharge, then we're gonna start filling and getting into the green area. Now, initially, we'll let it stabilize before we start charging to let the gauge stabilize. And then afterwards, about every 15 seconds, we wanna kind of like rotate this like this and this to ensure that the pressure is there to keep the refrigerant going into the pipe. And then when it reaches the green, we're gonna stop and we're gonna check this out. Very important before you get started though, after attaching this, we're gonna start the car and have the AC running on max, right? So that is an important step. So first, turn the car off, find the low pressure coupling, attach this, go start your car, turn the AC on max, ensure that the pressure is at a level that it does need to be recharged, and then recharge it until a point that it's in the green area, and then see if the AC problem is fixed. If it is, you identified that the refrigerant lower level was the issue, and then you probably want to look at if the refrigerant is leaking, because it's not supposed to, get to the lower levels like this. If even after being in green the AC issue is not solved, then you need to talk to your mechanic to look at some other issue with the air condition. So let's go ahead and get into the attachments. First, before I take the cap off, I'm going to take off the safety area first. So in order to take off this safety clip, we're simply going to unscrew like this. You're going to take off this clip, which also twists off. Okay, and then now that we have that off, you're going to screw these in together. I like to screw the bottle on because rotating this with the mini hose it has is a bit finicky. And now the bottle is on nice and secure. Don't want to over tighten it, but like nice and secure. It doesn't go anymore without forcing the issue. We're good. So at this point, I'm gonna put on my gloves for safety, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the low pressure coupling. Okay, so here we have the low pressure coupling. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that low pressure cap. So that is removed. We're going to keep this safe. So I'll put it in a safe place. And then I'm going to grab this right here, and I am going to attach it. In order to attach it, I'm just gonna lay it sideways momentarily, just because I'm working with one hand here, the camera in the other. So remember, we want to pull this up and then push down and let it go. So there we go. It didn't catch. Okay, now it caught. So I had to push a little bit harder, pull up, push, had to put quite a bit of effort. Then I let it go, and as you can see, it is not coming off now. So it is on there nice and secure. We can see, so actually, if you can see here, it's above the green line. So it doesn't look like it needs to be charged. I'm not gonna put this in if it doesn't need to be charged, but in order to check it, again, I'm just gonna secure this here, and I am going to go ahead and start the car and run the AC to see if the levels remain at the yellow line, which is indicating a slight overcharge actually, which perhaps could be the problem. It could be that there's too much refrigerant. We don't know for sure, but we're gonna find out. Okay, so starting the car. Another thing you want to do before you start the recharge process is you want to make sure that all the doors are open, and you want to make sure that the AC is on full max setting. So I have it, everything's fully turned on over here, and it's on full, like highest AC setting. So that's what we've got going on. And I'm going to make sure my doors are open. And once again, I'm not charging it right now because the charge indicator says it's on the yellow area, which is a slight overcharge. And we don't want to make that worse if that is the case. Instead, we probably have to contact our mechanic. Now, interesting find though. Take a look at this. After turning the car on, which is why you want to check this setting in this condition, which is after turning the car on. So you can see after I've turned the car on, it is in fact on a low setting. So now there is a trigger sort of mechanism right here that I'm going to press to start the charging process. And I'm going to begin that now. And you can see that it is charging. And I'm going to check the pressure now. It is still in the low range, a little bit higher. So I'm going to give it a few shakes. And then I'm going to charge again. So now when you have the trigger pulled, it's sending air in so it can't check the pressure. So what we want to do is fill it in for about 10 to 15 seconds, which is what I'm doing right now. And then when you let go of this trigger back here, that's when this gauge will be able to check the pressure, similar to how the tire pressure gauges work. So let's see where we're at now. Still in the low range. So we're going to shake it up a little, and we're going to go for another 15 seconds. Are we getting any higher? We are getting higher, but we need to keep going a little more. Still sitting at low. It is going up. It's taking a while though. I've been going at it for a few minutes now already. So I'm doing this while holding the trigger in to try to keep the pressure up. The bottle does tend to get quite cold, so having a nice insulated pair of gloves will help you hold it a little bit longer while you go through this process. As you can tell, it does take a few minutes. I've already been doing it for about 3 to 4 minutes now. So it is not a quick process, especially if your reading is quite low, like mine was. Yes, we are climbing. That is good news. You can see that we're all the way up to 20 psi, I guess is what that reading is now. Yep. So we want to go higher. So we will keep going. We're almost 4 to 5 minutes in at this point. The trigger is pushed in. I'm resetting the pressure by moving the bottle. I'm holding things in. It's about 5 minutes in right now. And you can see the car doors are, all of them are open. The car is running and the AC is on the max setting. And we are over here filling this up. Let's see if we're getting closer to the green this time around. Almost there, almost there. So in the beginning it does feel like it's not doing anything, but it's just because the pressure was quite low. So it's going to go in, it's going to take a minute to reach a level where it can have a good reading. And the other thing is that if you do test it while the car is off, as you saw, mine gave a reading in the yellow, which meant it was already sufficient. So while the car is off and the AC is off, it's not going to give you an effective reading. So you do want to get it while the car is running, like first connect it while the car is off for safety, and then go open all the doors, turn the car on, give it a few seconds, and then look at the reading for the pressure. Okay, let's see where we are at now. Almost in the green, not quite. You can see, not quite there yet. Okay, we're gonna check it now. Okay, we are in the green. Since mine I know is leaking, this is where you can stop. I'm going to put in a little bit more because mine has been leaking. I'm not going to try to go towards the middle or even the top of the green area though. You don't want to overfill it. But I want to make sure as I'm going off-roading until I get to the mechanic that I can have enough AC in southern Utah so that I'm not melting in the car. So you want to be careful to not overfill. I'm going to probably go a little bit past 30 psi here, and I think we should be in good shape. So it was about at what looked like 28 psi. Okay, let's see if we've reached. Perfect, so we're at 30 psi. I'm gonna leave it there because if I want, I can always come and add more. So I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna go turn the car off first, and then actually let's go ahead and check. Oh yeah, it is cold air. Beautiful. I'll tell you something about this in a second. I'm going to turn the car off momentarily to take that off for safety reasons. I don't want to do that while the car is running. And as you can see, once again, as the car turned off, it's giving me this reading, which is not accurate. So we had the accurate reading of 30 psi when the car was not running. So I'm going to again pull this up, and then pull the whole coupling up. So this part right here is first what you want to pull up, and then pull the whole coupling up, and there we have it. Now I will add the cap back on, and here we go. Make sure that's in there, and we are solid. The can is quite cold. We can close this at this point. We don't really need to have the hood open. I'll shut that down in a moment properly. So if you have a temperature gauge that you can even like a meat thermometer or some sort of temperature gauge with I guess it would be called a prong, that you can put into the vent before you add the refrigerant and after, you can measure the temperature difference. But you can also tell that simply by feeling the air and how cold it is. Like, it is noticeably colder in my case now as compared to before. So let's turn the car on and see how this feels. Oh yeah, it is. It's chilly in here. That's how cold it feels. So the good news is we found the problem. It has to do with something to do with the AC refrigerant leak. The bad news is now we have to find the leak, which, you know, my mechanic is going to help figure that out. Yeah, I hope you found this video helpful. Again, you know, if these kind of videos are helpful, I'll try to make a few more of them in between the other videos I make on my channel, which are more finance and cryptocurrency related, technology related. But thank you for tuning in, and make sure to like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you found it helpful. If there's some questions you have, if there's something I did that you think can be done better, I'd love to know, and see you in the next one.